Rasheeda.
Hey,
It's so
how are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be able to talk to you today. And
Yay.
thank you for taking this time too.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course. So I want to jump right in. I would say that you are the queen of the snap era in hip hop. Is that something you'd agree with?
I would say, I wouldn't say queen of snap, but what I would say is I've definitely been a part of several eras of hip hop, from crunk music to
Mm-hmm.
snap music to, the underground ATL Queen of Crunk slash Georgia Peach slash Boss Chick.
Yes. Absolutely, absolutely. My sister went to college in Atlanta, and so she was there that she was there living it, and
She was in the moment.
she was in the moment,
in the
and so
turn
I
up
got
moment.
exactly, and so I was a part of it through a filter through her.
Period. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So you started your rap career with the Capers. What
Yep.
made you decide to pursue your solo career?
Honestly, with the Capers, we were all like sisters, and we had a point in time where we were doing our group thing, and then different things started happening, and women wanting to go in different directions, but I just loved music.
Mm-hmm.
And when the group was dismantling, I had went to Kirk at that time because we had been signed to him, and I've been signed to Kirk my whole music career.
Right.
And I went to him and I said, hey, I know the things aren't working out with the group, but I want to continue to move forward
Mm-hmm.
and do music. And he was like, well, I tell you what, if you work hard, you focus, you start writing all your own music and doing everything and show me you're serious, I'll push you until I can't push no more. And
Amazing.
still here.
Hey, all right. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yep.
So let's talk about the Boss Bitch mixtapes.
Yes.
Bedrock remix is like it for me.
Yay.
I love it. I love it because I love the song. So the remix was like, yeah.
Yay. Glad.
You've got Toya, you've got Diamond, you got Lola and Candy. How did that group come together?
You know what? It was just me calling. I said, hey, listen, I want to do the Bedrock music because, during the time when I was doing like the Boss Bitch music like series, I was really like so focused on continuing to put music out, being an independent artist, being an underground artist. I was just on that vibe of like, it's just, I'm eating it, I'm sleeping, I just got to do it. But I also felt like, we have to showcase and like come together as women and make sure that, we're out here doing our thing. So when I decided, I was like, you know what, I want to remix the Bedrock. I said, but let me call up a few of the ladies to, make sure that we make this sexy and fun, but also show that the females can rock and there's strength in numbers. Let's do it. And it happened really good.
I love it. I love it. So you've got the music career, the music is happening, right? And then you decide to continue making these money moves and, open the Press Boutique. What inspired you to open Press?
Okay, so honestly, I had been online prior to, opening a physical location.
Right.
And like starting Pressed in my dining room and really loving it, being able to do it. We've been online for 14 years. Mm-hmm. So this was before like everything and everybody with all these different boutiques and, all the stuff that you know about now. Right. It's something that I love. I always was just a girl who just liked to, have fun with fashion. I'm a Gemini, so I might wake up like a tomboy one day, a girly girl another day, a daggone prom dress, and then ain't nobody prom around. But, I just loved it. And I had been telling Kirk, I was like, man, listen, we need to open, we need to continue with the online, but we need to think about opening a physical store. And, him being the businessman, he's like, we have to get to a certain place before we do that, because with this online business, we're doing extremely well. The overhead is really low. Are we sure we want to step into that realm? And after us like setting goals, like I say to people all the time, we set goals and we execute that. After setting goals, and we set a mark on how many customers we wanted to have prior to opening a physical store. And once we hit that number, we said, okay, we're going to do it. And the rest is history. We're still here, pressed.
Yes, thank goodness for that too. And I know there's now a location in Houston. Why'd you choose Houston as the first city outside of Atlanta?
Well, one thing about Houston is it really kind of reminds me of Atlanta. And we did a lot of research on just like different malls, different locations. And Houston is a very thriving city. There's a lot of money in Houston. There's a lot of diversity in Houston, but the Galleria in Houston is also one of the biggest malls that brings in a lot of money. So after kind of like surfing that mall for like a week, sitting in the hallways and people looking at us like, why is Kirk and Rasheeda sitting here watching everybody? We're bag watching, seeing what people's buying and what direction they're going in this mall. After a while, we decided to make that, the out of state location. But I actually did close the Houston location.
Oh,
it was a decision that we had to make. We're still in Atlanta on 14th Street. So we're on 296 14th Street in Atlanta and in Midtown. So come see us. But yes, it was just the workers and it was just nobody want to do right. So I was just like, you got to learn when to pull the plugs.
I understand that. So, yes. I mean, is there any chance of a Dallas location? Just because, Is
that where you at? You in Dallas? Oh, well, where you at?
Yes. And, okay. Pinky Cole just brought Slutty Vegan here. So
she did.
I mean.
And, honestly, it was between Dallas and Houston.
Really?
Yes. Initially, it was between the two. Then we decided to go to Houston because of just like all the research on the Galleria as well. Right. And also that Galleria is the same as when we were previously at Phipps Plaza, the same mall company, which was Simon. So it was a great relationship that we had built, and going into the Galleria was just perfect.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, just let me know when.
I will. I keep you posted, girl.
Good. All right. So back to the businesses. You and your husband have also opened a restaurant, yes. Frost Bistro and Bar. Yes. I mean, restaurants are notoriously difficult to run. So what made y'all want to dive into that?
Extremely difficult, I will say. And with my husband being so supportive of every single thing that I've always wanted to do, from music to fashion to everything, one of his main goals was he wanted to have like a lounge, space. And it took years, of course. He's always like, we did all these things, building press and all that. And now it's about time. Finally, the time came. And it was a real estate move for us as well as a business move. And we just decided to go for it, dive in. We didn't have any experience on it at all. But I really wouldn't want it any other way because it allowed us to learn every aspect about the restaurant business. And we actually have just revamped and change from nightlife to breakfast and brunch. So we strictly serve breakfast and brunch, and it's been a really great journey so far, but it is a difficult business, I will say.
Oh yeah. Well, brunch is smart. Everybody loves brunch too.
Everybody loves brunch, in and out.
Completely.
And go home.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh man. So, all of your businesses, they're rooted in Atlanta, obviously. Yeah. Would you say that Atlanta is the best city for Black entrepreneurship? And if so, why?
Well, I can't speak for everybody. But I will say for myself, I feel as though it was the best move and has been the best move. Atlanta has become this, this just mecca. Initially I've been here over 27 years, but, initially coming down here, it wasn't the Atlanta that it is now, but it still had this feeling of, wow, like this city is so full of us and successful, men and women of color. It inspires you to want to do something, And so being able to do that and see other people like myself, other women, other families, other men, everybody being successful, I'm like, hey, listen, this is where it's at. Yeah. I don't want to do anything else, So for myself, I feel like, yes, Atlanta's a great, 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 great city. And you also get a sense of, of course, not from the very beginning, but as things have kind of transpired through the years, with friends and different people, we all inspire each other. That's why we all, stick together and try to support each other the best way that we can, because, it's a beautiful thing. And like I always say, it's strength in numbers and it's room for everybody. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Now let's get to Boss Moves. All
Let's
right.
go.
Your show, Boss Moves, is focused on how you balance all of your businesses in addition to being a wife and a mother. What is one thing that you hope your viewers gain from watching you and the experiences that you're sharing?
That life's like nothing's perfect. You just try to do the best you can. You learn from your mistakes. You fall, you get back up. You don't always have the right answers. You wake up some days with the intentions on conquering the world, and something comes up and you're not able to conquer the world that day, So it's just, people understanding that, nothing's perfect, but work hard. Let's go after it. Let's uplift. Let's pray together. Let's stay focused. Let's try to help each other. And that's really what it is with Boss Moves. I want people to be able to take away that, it's not always easy and not always perfect, but if someone can give you something or drop some gems for you, or you're able to see something that, triggers you to be like, you know what, let me get back focused because Rasheeda said, or that girl did this, or this happened, I feel like I'm winning if that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so important, especially now in like the social media era where everybody is projecting perfection, and that's just not realistic.
It's not. And it drives me crazy because people always, it's just like, the movie just having the most amazing ending, and you see that and you like, yay. And then when you go to the top of the movie, you're like, dang, they went through all that to get to that beautiful ending. Like, yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, absolutely. Like I love being able to do all these different things, and people see this on Boss Moves. So
yeah, absolutely. That's so cool. And it's so appreciative of that because it is important. So what can we look forward to in season 2 of Boss Moves?
Well, season 2, I'm super excited. August 15th. So make sure y'all got Philo. Don't forget. Season 2. Okay. So it's a little switch up because we kind of dig into other people's business and be able to get a lot of information and gems from them. And not only do we do that, so we'll have a little tea, a little fun, a little inspiration, but we also, on this season, I'm mentoring young ladies who have businesses that didn't quite work like they wanted them to, or businesses that are kind of like failing, and we're going in trying to like revamp, restructure, get them on the right path. And then, we're also like, dealing with women and self-confidence, and it's a young lady on the show who had gastric bypass, and she's trying to get herself back sexy, fun, and lit, and sometimes that's a really hard process for people, so being able to like share that and kind of dig into that is a great thing. And then we're talking about girlfriend conversations, having your strong friends and making sure that you're checking on each other and being there, because your circle is really important. And lastly, of course, love and business, child. Trying to, hold it together as husband and wife. We have these businesses, and just life together and family, and, how that whole dynamic works. So it's a lot.
Yeah, you got to make time for that too. It's hard to, but you got to.
Yes.
Awesome. So my last, question, I've got to ask about Love and Hip Hop. You've been a staple on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, pretty much since the series began. Do you see your time on that show coming to an end anytime soon, or?
Well, I would definitely say, all good things come to an end at some time, and I do think that, it's getting close. Yeah. The game is changing too a lot, reality television game and stuff like that. So One thing I will say though is, stepping into Love and Hip Hop Atlanta initially, not realizing it will become like a cultural phenomenon, being able to be a part of that has been nothing but a blessing for us, and and it's a give and take. You got to take the good with the bad. So this is being a part of that is one thing that has been nothing but a complete blessing. And so whenever that light does dim, I can probably sleep well to say I feel like I did a pretty decent job with the platform, so I can't be mad.
Absolutely. No. Yeah, that's it. That's true. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just want to give that other, reiterate Boss Moves season 2 premieres August
15th on Philo.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rasheeda. I hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you again.
Thank you.